Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about a big announcement Subaru's just made, and that is releasing the TR WRX for the 2024 model year. And while this car is going to be unveiled on October 7th, which is just over a week from now, there is a lot of information and misinformation in the Subaru community, people making wild statements. So in this video, we're going to talk about everything that we know and some of the things that we can predict to manage expectations, because there are some pretty wild statements right now and people are expecting a lot from this car. And we're going to talk about a few things that Subaru has shown us in previous releases and most recent history that may influence what is to come. And I think you guys have all seen the thumbnail, and it's whether or not we're just going to see the TR-WRX on the CVT platform with only the SPT, the automatic transmission, and not with a manual. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's go over everything you need to know. If you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to stay up to date with VB or WRX content, just feel free to consider subscribing. Obviously, also, if you want to follow along with this build, you probably can see in frame right now that there's already a difference in the rear of the car. If you know what it is, let me know in the comment section below. If you don't, you're gonna have to see the video that's coming out soon. It's a minor modification, but in my opinion, makes a big difference, especially in person. Okay, so what is the TR WRX? Let's start with that. The TR stands for Tuner Ready. Subaru has done this once before in 06-07, where the WRX came with a 2.5 EJ in it, and basically the car was tuner ready. Subaru didn't put some of the parts that they would otherwise put in the car that they know that are going to be immediate replacements from the aftermarket, and the intention was to do this to offer a cheaper option for people that are just going to go straight and tune the WRX. What does that really mean? The TR WRX in 06-07 was the cheapest WRX. It was cheaper than even the base because, again, Subaru just put just what it needed functionally to be road legal to then go and tune that car with a few upgrades, but really it cut down on the investment for the parts that they knew that were going to be immediately replaced. So what does the TR, the Tuner Ready WRX, mean in 2024? At least now, 2023, or coming up in 2024 model year. Well, the teaser and basically all the information that we got from Subaru was the fact that it's going to have upgraded brakes. We've seen that in the photo. The photo that's been released from Subaru was the thumbnail of this video. We don't know much other than that, but what that tells us already is that there's already a very expensive modification on that TR WRX, which is the upgraded brakes, which doesn't lead to good signs. So let's talk about what we think could happen, because everything that I've just stated so far is all we know. Anyone that says anything else is, we just don't know it, right? It's just hearsay. What we can do is look at some of the past actions of Subaru and extrapolate from there. And I apologize, it is starting to rain. That's why I'm kind of like in the garage right now, because I was not expecting rain today. And this is a bit of an impromptu video because we just heard about the TR WRX literally 24 hours ago. So here's where the bad news comes. I think there's two pieces here. Typically when you hear TR WRX, you think cheaper than base. I think with the global market and what we're seeing already with the new brakes and everything, we can expect this WRX not to be cheaper. We probably can expect it to be on the higher end of the spectrum of cost. My guess is it's equal to the GT or more expensive, and we're probably going to see more like the TS style BRZ, where they add a bunch of STI options, and then probably we see upgraded brakes, and closer to like the Type RA, where we're going to see maybe some, something in the engine, but not something crazy, maybe like a charge pipe or something like that, where, maybe they claim there's a little bit more power. Likely, maybe not even the case. I think that's probably a stretch. More likely we see brakes, we see nicer wheels, we see all of the STI options installed from the factory, we see every option that comes with the Limited, we see every option that comes with the GT, and that's probably it. But they're gonna say it's the most track-ready WRX. Now here's where the bombshell and controversy drops. I think we're gonna see this released only on the automatic platform, being the SPT CVT transmission. Why do I think that? Because of the GT release and where the industry is going. So before I even tell you why, you need to understand that manuals are being phased out. There's incentives for organizations not to produce manuals, even though they have communities that are manual owned. The EPA and the government are telling them you need to slowly stop producing manuals, right? That you need to phase them out. It's harder to get the manual transmissions to meet all the regulations and requirements. It's harder to get the manual transmissions to meet the fuel efficiency and energy requirements. And there's just a smaller and smaller population of manual owners. Even though we all seem to come together in Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, social media, we're just seeing each other and we're not seeing the rest of the community. And that's reflected based on the share of SPT versus manual VB WRXs. Now, the manual WRXs are selling really, really well. You're seeing a lot of SPTs on the lot. Where we lose a little bit of the perspective is that the percentage of WRXs made, there are more WRXs being made that are the automatics, and some of the best selling WRXs are the GT models, which are CVT only. So what Subaru is trying to do is slowly convert the community to be more receptive of an automatic platform. Now that sucks because the CVT is not the right transmission to have in the WRX, but that's not going to change. There is almost no chance that will change in the next decade. I would bet some money on that. But the worrying thing is Subaru knows the GT is selling well. They know that people are waiting for it. Some dealers have some, but they're selling it to other dealers because people are waiting for them. I know for a fact people from this community on this channel have been waiting months for the GT model, and they're willing to pay. They're not discounting those models. So that shows business case that on the top end, people do want the automatic platform for this car. So my fear is that they're going to use this TR, and maybe this isn't a fear. This could not be, like I say this as somebody that loves the manual transmission and thinks that the manual is the right transmission for this car, but Subaru might take this TR WRX as trying to be like the flagship converter on top of the GT model and bring more of the community over to the automatic side of things. I think this has also been a failure across the board of, Subaru doesn't understand people are making more power on this, and this has been something that, the last 10 years has really been reflective. I think Subaru knows, but I think Subaru doesn't want people making too much power on these cars, and if they did, they'd be coming out with better manual transmissions too. I mean, we know that the STI transmission is better. There's no reason why the STI transmission couldn't have been designed into this car, other than cost. But even then, if you were to do a full fleet, changeover, there's something to be said there. So I'm a firm believer of Subaru maybe wants you to make more power, but not a lot of power. I think they believe that they've developed a very well-developed car and balanced car. I don't agree, but I think that's historically what we've seen from Subaru. So where am I going with all of this? Obviously, there are some fears. I want you to set your expectations and set your reality to that is what we know. I think that the community right now and online, people are going wild. They're talking about all these variations. They're saying it's guaranteed manual. They're saying the manual is going to have XYZ horsepower. We're going to have this feature. We don't know any of that. All we can do is see from the one photo and a little bit of press release that they've had and take extrapolations from their past and very recent past actions like the GT and what they've done there and see what happens on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday. So obviously if you're watching this video and it's past October 7th of 2023, go watch the video where I talk about what was unveiled. But this video is strictly talking about what we know so far and just setting expectations because again, it's hard, to see people run wild and see some posts on Facebook get like 300 comments of, I'm so excited that it's going to have 400 wheel horsepower, which I saw last night. And that's why I was like, I'm going to film this video. I had another video planned for today. I wasn't even going to make a TR video until it got released on Saturday. And then I saw that post and I was like, I've got to do it. Because then I got into the rabbit hole of looking at all the communication around it. And I was like, people are talking like they work for Subaru and they know what's going on. And the problem is it gets everyone excited and then it gets everybody disappointed about the brand when it doesn't happen. And then, Saturday comes and everybody's like, WRXs stink, Subaru stinks. And then it affects the community. And I've seen this time and time again on the part side, this affects the part side business. So again, I'm a little biased in that part that I want to make sure that, the WRX and the WRX brand is still successful. And part of that is just setting expectations. Because again, disappointment sucks. And disappointment comes from people coming and saying, it's going to be this amazing, crazy car, right? Like the Type RA or something, which isn't even that crazy or amazing. And it would be awesome if they came out with something that was similar to the Type RA, where they did do some innovating and they did do some stuff that made it like a limited run car. I just don't think it makes sense anymore. I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see like the age of more conversion, and we'll see what comes. So I'll have a video out probably next Friday, like a normal post, and then one coming out Saturday night right after we know. Next week will be a 2-video week, and it should be exciting, so definitely tune along for that. Hit that subscribe button if you want to be notified when that video comes out, and I'll see you guys in that video.